Hey guys, my name is Matthew. Obviously, the title's pretty self-explanatory, but before we get into it, I do want to caveat the whole video with kind of the first video we made, which is about our 5 favorite things in the UK. I'll drop a description to that below and a card here as well. That video is really designed to be watched first because overwhelmingly, more than anything, our family has absolutely loved being here. These 5 things aren't things that like, oh, we just hate it and we can't possibly stand it and man, that's not this video at all. This video is 5 things that our family have struggled to acclimatize ourselves to well, and we thought we'd make a video about that. And so really appreciate it if you watch that video first and you kind of take everything that we say in this video with a grain of salt, understanding that overwhelmingly we've loved our experience here. Okay, the first thing that I want to mention that I don't like about the UK is specifically about my house, but it is part of a bigger trend. And in my house, we do not have a dryer. We have a washer, it's in the kitchen. I love washers in the kitchen, I'm about that life, but the dryer doesn't exist, and I am not about that life. I already don't like laundry. It's probably my least favorite household chore. There's all the folding and the washing and the drying, and it just takes hours, and it basically takes your whole day to do the laundry for a family. And I especially don't like it when the drying takes longer than it used to. It used to be I'd pop stuff in the dryer, it takes 40 minutes, and my whole load is dry. It's also warm, it's de-wrinkled. That's wonderful. That was in the States. Now that I'm in the UK, we don't have dryers. Instead, we have to hang up our clothes, which is great when it's outside. I actually like the way that it feels, and kind of there's something feels rustic about hanging your clothes outside. I'm great with that, but most of the time in the UK, we've found you really can't hang your clothes outside because it might be raining, or it might just be damp, or there's this overcast day, so it's going to take all day for them to dry. So they're all hanging inside. There's 3 things I don't like about not having a dryer. A, I don't like that it takes more time to actually dry. So it takes 40 minutes to dry in a dryer, and it obviously takes a lot longer than that to dry when you're hanging up. That's frustrating. Even on a sunny day, it takes a lot longer than that. B, I really don't like that my clothes tend to be a little bit more wrinkly, which means I have to learn how to use an iron, and I know lazy American doesn't want to use his iron, but I just don't. Why would I want to do an additional step when I don't have to? That's frustrating for me. And there's a third thing, the C. Did I count A, B, and 3? The third thing I don't like is it physically takes longer for me to do that motion. Not only does it take longer for them to dry, but it actually takes longer, more effort on my part to take the clothes out of the washer and then hang them up, and then later on retrieve them and then fold them up and put them away. So overall, one of my least favorite things about the UK is this general trend of not everyone has a dryer, whereas in the United States, it'd be pretty much typical. You would pretty much find in just about every case, you would have a dryer in your home. And before the YouTube commenters come at me, I know it costs more electricity, and I know we're wasteful as a country, and whatever else you want to say about me. But if you want to say it again, I'm cool with it. Leave a comment if you hate dryers. Okay, the second thing that I haven't always loved about the UK, and there are times when this is nice and there's times when it's not, but I don't like how compact everything is all the time. It feels like there's just nowhere to go where you can just really have plenty of space. There's nowhere you can just go drive where you have plenty of space around your car and you can get around just fine. There's nowhere you can go where you can, like, there's nothing that equates to a Kansas plains in the UK. There's nothing quite like that. And the countryside comes close sometimes, but even then it's like to get out to the countryside and then find a place to park my car, and it's like a hassle to get anywhere where I have plenty of space all around me. And so sometimes I feel just a little bit claustrophobic. There are also lots of pros, and I totally understand. UK is just a smaller place than the US. It makes sense that things are more compact and you're making better use of the space than we do. But I really miss just that feeling of wide openness that comes with being in the United States. I am about to fully admit that number 3 is super just silly. And it doesn't really make sense, and I recognize that as a human and as an American that this is silly, but I miss cheap Kraft macaroni and cheese, or Walmart brand or Kroger brand or whatever. but I miss the cheap stuff that comes in a box and it's bright orange and I know it doesn't have any real nutritional value and there's not any real cheese in it. That's the kind that I miss, because everything in the UK just tastes too real. It tastes exactly like cheese and macaroni, and not like fake processed orange powder that belongs on macaroni. There's a time for real macaroni and cheese. I love that, but I crave that fake flavor. I didn't even eat it that often when I was in the States. Maybe once every couple months I'd eat it. But since I've been here, I found that I really crave it. I found that I really want it, and I can't find it. And some of you guys are gonna say, oh, we have fake macaroni and cheese. Just look in your local supermarket or grocery store. I tried it. It's not the same. They put onion powder in their mac and cheese, and onion powder is a real ingredient. I want it to be totally fake. And orange. Did I mention orange? Bright orange mac and cheese. I miss it. I want it. All right, number 4 is kind of related to number 3. It's the food. And it's actually one of my least favorite things about the UK. Not your food. I like the sausages and the Sunday roasts and the pies and all the classic English food. I actually really enjoy that stuff. But the blandness of all the other food is what bothers me. So the example I'll give is we had Mexican food over at my house. A bunch of people brought different dishes, and we had like 2 or 3 of what the United States would call chili dishes. They kept calling it chili con carne, which makes sense, but it's just like chili. And instead of it tasting like Mexican chili, it tasted like tomato soup, kind of, because it's bland. And the same thing is true of like the curries and I don't know. I think that if you want your own food to be bland, that's wonderful. But it kind of bothers me when I'm looking for the flavor from another culture and I get it and I'm like, ooh, this is really close but not quite right because you forgot all the seasonings and spices. I don't like the fact that the food is bland, especially when I'm looking for a flavor that I'm used to, and then it's similar but it's bland and it just misses the mark. I don't like that. Okay. Last thing, number 5, no one's fault, definitely not wrong, but I really don't like the fact that my friends and my family aren't here. It's been great to make new relationships and get to know people better, but I have really found myself missing my family, missing the people I know from back in the States, kind of the familiar voices and faces of people who I got to meet with and be with daily and people I got to talk to a lot. And now it's just a little bit harder to see those people. And thankfully technology helps out a lot. We Skype our families, not Skype, we use Facebook Messenger. We hit them up like once a week though, and that's really nice, and sometimes even more often than that, because technology is so incredible. So that is one of the things I miss the most, is my family and my friends being here. It's one of my least favorite things about the UK is that they're not here. So that's my least favorite things about the UK. Maybe drop a comment below if you have some things that you particularly don't like about the UK, or things that you wish were a little bit different. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. We put out new content every single week, and we'll be picking up the pace a little bit in the coming weeks as well. So watch out for that, and see you next time.